Dacthal Herbicide Lawsuit Overview. DCPA Lawyers. In this video, we'll provide an overview of the Dacthal Herbicide, DCPA Lawsuit, potential health risks of Dacthal exposure, how to file a Dacthal herbicide lawsuit claim, and much more. In August 2024, the EPA took the rare step of issuing an emergency order in August 2024 to immediately suspend all uses and sales of Dacthal due to these severe risks after the manufacturer failed to provide necessary safety data for nearly 20 years. Despite repeated EPA requests, this was the first suspension issued by the EPA in 40 years. Pregnant women exposed to DCPA are at risk of their unborn babies experiencing changes to fetal thyroid hormone levels, which are linked to serious health issues like decreased bone growth, disrupted brain development, lower birth weight, lower IQ, reduced motor skills, other serious developmental issues. If you or a loved one were potentially exposed to DCPA and your child was diagnosed with any of these conditions, you may qualify for the Dacthal exposure lawsuit. Visit TruLaw's website and use our chatbot to get a free instant online case evaluation to find out if you qualify for the Dacthal lawsuit right away. AMVAC Chemical Corporation is a prominent U.S. agrochemical company specializing in developing and distributing agricultural chemicals, including herbicides, insecticides, and fungicides. AMVAC Chemical Corporation is the sole registrant and manufacturer of DCPA products in the United States. AMVAC's role as the sole producer of DCPA, as the exclusive manufacturer of DCPA AMVAC Chemical Corporation holds critical responsibilities for ensuring public health and environmental safety. AMVAC's obligations include ensuring the safety of their DCPA products, conducting and submitting required safety studies to regulatory agencies, providing accurate information about the potential risks of DCPA use, implementing necessary precautions and warnings on product labels. Despite these duties, AMVAC has been criticized for not adhering to safety and regulatory standards. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, issued an emergency suspension of DCP, citing AMVAC's prolonged failure to provide vital safety data, particularly regarding the chemical's effects on fetal thyroid development. This negligence lasted nearly a decade, exposing farm workers and communities to significant risks. Moreover, even after compliance, the safety measures on treated fields remained insufficient, posing serious health threats to agricultural workers and surrounding areas. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, identified serious health and environmental risks with Dacthal DCPA, prompting requirements for extensive safety studies by AMVAC Chemical Corporation. Despite this, AMVAC's failure to submit these studies in a timely manner resulted in the suspension of DCPA products. AMVAC was tasked with conducting over 20 studies focused on DCPA's effects on thyroid function and fetal development, long-term health risks, and environmental impacts. Critical studies included comparative thyroid assay, CT, a study to assess DCPA's effects on thyroid hormone regulation, long-term toxicity and environmental impact studies to evaluate chronic health effects and ecological risks. AMVAC missed the January 2016 deadline, leading to a 6-year delay and an eventual notice of intent to suspend NOITSD CPA's registration in April 2022. The incomplete and overdue submissions prevented a full risk assessment by the EPA, continuing the exposure of farm workers, pregnant women, and nearby residents to DCPA. This lack of compliance underscores the critical need for strict regulatory oversight and highlights the central issues in the ongoing Dacthal litigation. Products manufactured by AMVAC that contain DCPA include, but are not limited to following: the Dacthal DCPA Herbicide Lawsuit accuses AMVAC Chemical Corporation of failing to warn about the herbicide's substantial risks adequately. The plaintiff's claims are anticipated to allege that DCPA exposure, especially during pregnancy, is linked to serious developmental issues such as birth defects and cognitive delays. Further allegations against AMVAC include inadequate warnings about the serious health risks linked to DCPA exposure, delays in submitting required safety studies to regulatory agencies, misleading information regarding the safety of DCPA on product labels, prolonged exposure risks due to insufficient safety measures, associations between DCPA exposure and birth defects, as well as developmental delays. These claims highlight a pattern of negligence by AMVAC, casting doubts on the company's dedication to public safety and regulatory compliance. Certain groups are particularly vulnerable to the effects of dacthal exposure, mainly because of their closeness to or involvement in agricultural areas where the herbicide is applied. Key populations at risk include agricultural workers, those directly handling or working near dacthal applications, such as farmers, field workers, and pesticide applicators, often lack proper protective equipment. Residents near treated fields, individuals living close to areas where dacthal is used, may be exposed via drift, runoff, or contaminated soil and water, leading to potential inhalation or physical contact with residues. Pregnant women, this group faces significant risks, as DCPA exposure could affect fetal development, possibly resulting in low birth weight and other health issues. Children, due to their developing bodies and behaviors that increase their contact with contaminated environments, children are particularly susceptible. These populations endure varying levels of risk based on their exposure to dacthal, with agricultural workers and pregnant women facing some of the most direct and severe risks. Concerns over DCPA exposure extend beyond agricultural workers to nearby communities and environmental health across various U.S. regions. Key regions with notable DCPA concerns: California's Central Valley, known for intensive agriculture, this region uses significant amounts of dacthal, heightening exposure risks for local farming communities. Southeastern U.S., Georgia, Florida, common use of dacthal in onion and cucurbit cultivation has raised issues regarding groundwater contamination and air quality. Pacific Northwest Oregon, Washington, the herbicide's use in vegetable production prompts concerns about environmental and health impacts. Great Plains, Nebraska, Kansas, concerns here focus on dacthal soil persistence and potential runoff into water sources. The widespread application of dacthal in these areas has heightened scrutiny over its long-term health effects, reflecting growing public and regulatory attention. Before initiating a lawsuit, assessing eligibility based on several key factors is crucial. These include the nature and timing of exposure, the resulting health effects, and legal timelines. Key eligibility criteria: exposure to DCPA. Primary risk groups include agricultural workers who have handled or applied dacthal, worked in treated fields, or handled contaminated produce. Residential proximity. Individuals living near fields where dacthal was used might have been exposed through drift or contaminated environmental mediums. Health issues from such exposures may qualify for legal claims. Health conditions. The presence of specific health problems linked to DCPA, like birth defects or thyroid disorders, documented through medical records, is crucial for a claim. Timing of exposure and symptoms. Establishing a clear timeline connecting DCPA exposure to the onset of health issues is vital for a strong legal case. State of residence. Variations in state laws concerning toxic exposure and product liability including statutes of limitations, are critical in determining the ability to file a lawsuit. Meeting these criteria is the initial step towards seeking compensation for damages caused by DCPA exposure and could provide grounds for legal action against responsible entities. To find out if you are eligible, use the chatbot on TruLaw.com. If you or a loved one were exposed to DCPA and subsequently developed health issues, or your child suffered developmental delays or other irreversible lifelong health problems, you may be eligible to pursue compensation. Contact TruLaw using the chatbot on our website to receive an instant case evaluation and determine your eligibility to join others in filing a Dacthal herbicide lawsuit today.